Hey everybody, this is Sandman, and Tekken 8 Season 3 is about a month and a week away. They preach that they will redefine balance, and it's the glorious balance patch that we've been all waiting for. And here are some things that I hope will be covered within this redefining or rebalancing of the game that I believe is beneficial for the game. It's healthier for the characters themselves and the players that are also playing this game. And frankly, it will make playing Tekken 8 an overall better experience. Since we're going back to basics in Season 3, the first thing that I would like to see is an increase in movement in backdashing and sidestepping / sidewalking. Tekken is known for its movement. You see the characters moving at very high speeds and are able to move and not get clipped by large moves because, well, they can move away from them. The emphasis on movement in this game is lessened by such a degree, and it's only worsened by the large buttons and very oppressive buttons that this game has. It makes avoiding offense or specific buttons, like for example, Law's 1+2, the nunchuck. It makes avoiding this button very, very difficult. And it makes avoiding lots of heat smashes very difficult since they are large buttons that deal a lot of damage. Frankly, an increase in movement would buff everyone and not nerf anyone. Movement has always been at the core of Tekken ever since the start, and going back to basics has to include something as basic as this mechanical skill that every character can do. The second change that I want to bring is a somewhat controversial one because it is the ability to do heat burst within your stance. I believe this change has been a net negative for the game, namely because it gives a ridiculous extension to combos that has never been seen before in older Tekkens. The first problem to me has to be the excessive tracking that this feature brought in. It was unexpected for sure, but it needs to be addressed. Why is that heat burst landing? This heat burst has no business turning completely around and hitting me and making me block it. This is completely in line with Tekken 8's excessive offense that this game encourages, and frankly, the game's better off without it. And one thing that Leo can do at the wall, like many other characters that can stance heat burst, is to extend the combo with heat burst. And I do think that the tech itself is cool. It is pretty cool. However, it does keep the game going in a way that just takes too long. It takes way too much time. So while I might not be a fan of the routes themselves, like from Leo and Jin, when they use a move to go into stance and then do heat burst, I don't really like those combos because those characters already have very strong combos that have decent wall carry that doesn't need this feature to achieve that damage and wall carry. But I'm more so having a problem with the tracking of the heat burst itself because it's ridiculous, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree. The third thing has to be getting rid of wall-splatting heat smashes. I'm pretty sure we're all tired of sequences like this. What I do suggest is the changing of these heat smashes to still wall break. At least they're using up a gimmick. I think that there's some degree of fairness there. But if they do land a heat smash at the wall, I think that a specific knockdown should happen. It's like this one. Like something like that, but to the other side. So giving characters varying Oki situations with their heat smashes at the wall takes away from the excessive damage that they do at the wall, but keeps it in the favor of the attacker, albeit you still have to work more to finish the round and get the win. I think that's a rather fair change that gives more emphasis to Oki rather than just straight up damage that this game is doing right now. And fourthly, I'd like to see a reduction in tracking in moves that track way too much. I have one specific example, and that's with Hwoarang. Hwoarang has this two-hitting power crush that has an uncanny ability to follow you if you do try to move initially. The thing about this move is that you can delay it or go into stance. Like you can almost like hit confirm a power crush, which is very, very odd because he's the only one that can have a move like this. Yeah, I don't like when this move hits me in that particular way, but evidently I should be stepping right. But you know, fighting Hwoarang it's like you have to have a library's worth of knowledge to actually fight him, but still, it seems that... Oh, I'm glad I was disproven live. Well, yeah, that fully proves my point. Tracking in this game is very odd. This move in particular annoys me a lot because it's on an annoying character. And this isn't the only time he'll be mentioned in this video. And now to the first individual change that I would like to see. Unsurprisingly, Hwoarang is still on the screen. It's with down back 4. This button being a safe low into a mix-up that is still possible on block is frankly unheard of and makes no sense. Why do I have to worry about taking a flappy kick mix-up on block? Or maybe it could be a power crush, or maybe he could go into more pressure. This is simply unacceptable. If you do block a low, you should be able to punish that low without yourself getting punished. I mean, I think this is pretty fair. And I propose that the change that Hwoarang gets is similar to the way they designed full crouch down forward 4 with Shaheen. Full crouch down forward 4 by itself is minus 14 on block. That's bad news. And it's the main reason why you'd never see this low by itself. Because you can go into stance and be minus 11, take an 11 frame punish, and then lose your turn. It's a very strong low option, but it is fair in the sense that you can punish it. You can't roll into more pressure if this low gets blocked. So why doesn't Hwoarang get something similar with this low? Because you shouldn't take a mix-up on block from a low that can go into stance. You did it with Shaheen. You know, he's a lovely Arab man. You know, he's a great character. People love him. Psych. But he's well designed, and this is part of his great design. Why can't Hwoarang have something like this? People would like fighting Hwoarang more if this change was implemented, and I think that Hwoarang players are taking a fair hit to their offense because nobody in this game gets to mix up from a low on block. The second character change that I would like to see is within Law. It's mainly when he's in heat and using his nunchuck moves. Frankly, Law gets to do his best routes while gaining heat more than losing heat. In this sense, Law never really loses heat if he activates it and keeps his offense going. Law is the only character that doesn't have to sacrifice his best BNBs to regain heat. Characters like Shaheen, who have to regain heat with the tailspin move, full crouch down forward 2 and front back 2, Law actually frequently ends up with more heat than with what he started with if he starts off a combo. I'll give you an example. Look at how much more heat he has right now compared to when the combo started. Frankly, I think that the heat regain on hits for Law needs to be toned down way more than it is right now, because a good Law can activate heat and then keep it going until the round is over, until he wins the round. And getting out of that loop and defending against it is particularly tough because of things like slide. And since he regains heat with the nunchuck hit, when he does land a slide, it is part of the tech to land this 1+2 after a slide. I don't know how to land it myself, but it doesn't take away from the fact that, man, Law's heat feels like it just keeps going. And I think toning it down this way will make it a lot more fair to deal with, especially since we're going back to basics, right? And the third change I'd like to bring is to Alisa and a few others, but let's start with her. Namely because she has a string that is a low high, which is this low into the head hit. You can duck the high if you do get hit by the low, which is confusing because Shaheen has this in his full crouch down forward 4-1. And it's just so odd to see that this move has a jailing feature while Shaheen's full crouch down forward 4-1 is fully crouchable on the second hit, despite having the same situation. It's a low high. Why can't you do that with Alisa? It makes no sense. It is so odd to see the inconsistent design that this game abides by sometimes. Why do some characters get to play with certain rules while others don't? Is it for balancing purposes? This isn't character defining. It's not a big strength in particular, but neither is full crouch down forward 4-1 with Shaheen. It's not a counter hit launcher anymore. It's not scary. So why is it treated different? It's so confusing. And this includes Nina's down forward 1-2 and Anna's down forward 1-2. I bring up Nina and Anna namely because of the offense that they get on block when they throw out down forward 1-2. I think making down forward 1-2 into a duckable mid-high string might be like character destroying because, they've had it for so long that they're down forward 1-2 jailed. I would much rather weaken the options that they can get afterwards. I can say that for sure. The options that they have afterwards seems to be far too in their favor for it to stay this long. And you want to know what's upsetting? They got it down way later when Armor King came out and everyone was like, oh, he's a stance character. Well, to me and to a lot of people, Armor King is a stance character done right because he can't get away with the same nonsense that Hwoarang and whatever that whole stomp thing that Lars is doing, because he has to actually play Tekken, unlike those two characters. I'll give you an example. And Armor King got this whole button to stance thing with his 12 frame punish, his back 1-2. I have him set up now to do his fastest high, his fastest mid, and his power crush from stance. And you can see that he is interruptible in all cases. You don't have to respect this offense because it is a nonsense kind of offense. The kind we shouldn't be dealing with anymore. Armor King has no holes in his gameplay that let you get away with this stance nonsense. And that's why people love him. And that's why people love the way his stance was done. Because his stance was done right. And while we're at it, why don't we bring old key charge back? This is frankly so useless. Bringing back the counter hit property would be most welcome. I don't think it was worth taking out for this long. And that'll be the end of the video. Thanks for watching. If you have any buttons that you want to comment on or bring up for its particular set of strengths, please bring it up in the comments. Let's start a discussion, and hopefully that discussion actually leads to a more complete Tekken experience, because right now we're experiencing a a little bit watered down Tekken, but hey, it's still changeable, still fixable. And yeah, check out my other videos and have a good one.